Inspired father discovers hidden love, a heartwarming story that changed everything forever. Jack had always been a man of the garage, his hands stained with grease and his heart filled with pride for each car he fixed. The small town of Maplewood, with its golden autumn leaves and bustling diners, had a rhythm to it, a pulse of community that Jack cherished. He was a devoted single father to Lily, his spirited 10-year-old daughter who shared his passion for mechanics, often meeting him in the garage with bright ideas and an infectious laugh. But as he looked at her one fateful morning, a deep fear gripped his heart like a vice. The dream he had built was about to shatter. The news hit like a thunderbolt. Layoffs at the auto shop where Jack had dedicated the last decade of his life. He tried to stay calm, to be the steady rock for Lily, like he always promised to be. But with every application he filled out, every job fair he attended, the anxiety mounted. Hours turned into days, and as Jack's pride held him back from reaching out for help, he felt an emotional distance growing between him and Lily. She sensed it too, her once bright eyes clouded with worry, as she watched her father drift away like a small boat caught in a turbulent sea. One crisp evening, Jack attended a fundraiser for local veterans at the community center, something he had always participated in, a chance to connect with others. It was there that he found Sarah, the kind-hearted nurse whose laugh radiated warmth, yet held a shadow of past pain. They exchanged glances, and for a brief moment Jack found refuge in her smile. It felt radical to find a friend amid his struggles. As they shared stories over plates of pie and coffee, something sparked between them, a flicker of hope igniting in the darkness. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. So let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Jack juggled applications by day and shared laughter with Sarah by night, life felt like a tightrope walk. Each moment unspooled tension that Lily could sense all too clearly. One evening, she confronted him with tears in her big brown eyes. "Dad, I miss you." The words cut through him like a knife, awakening his deepest fears. He knelt by her side, promising to work hard but knowing he was losing sight of what was most important, her. Just when it seemed he could either accept a low-paying gig or keep hoping for something better, a tragedy struck. A community member needed help, and Jack faced a choice between his dignity and the urgent call to support family. As the veterans around him shared tales of overcoming adversity, Jack's heart pounded. His value, he realized, was not just in a paycheck, but in the love he forged, in the integrity he upheld, in the man he was for Lily. Standing before a crossroads, Jack felt time freeze. The weight of expectation from the town bore down on him. He knew he had to choose wisely. As whispers of judgment and doubt echoed around him, he took a deep breath, wondering which path he would dare step onto. Would he lose everything? Or would he find redemption and love where he least expected it? The heart of Maplewood awaited his answer. When Jack woke up the next morning, the sunlight streamed through the garage windows, casting a warm glow over Lily's makeshift workbench. Her drawings cluttered the space, sketches of inventive machines and whimsical cars, reminders of her boundless imagination. But instead of feeling uplifted, Jack's heart sank as he recalled the choices ahead of him. He could feel the weight on his shoulders, like a heavy engine block that refused to budge. He made breakfast, the smell of bacon wafting through the small house, and he could see flickers of Lily's usual energy as she scampered in. "Smells amazing, Dad," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling momentarily. Yet Jack couldn't shake the knot in his stomach. As they sat at the worn kitchen table, a relic from his childhood, painted with smudges from countless family meals, he glanced at her, wishing he could give her everything she deserved, but feeling like he was weighing them both down. "Are you okay? You seem less like you and more like, I don't know." "A sad car?" she said, her innocent honesty cutting through the air. Jack chuckled softly at her metaphor, but felt a pang of guilt. "I'm just tired, kiddo," he replied, ruffling her hair. But the truth was a heavy truth he couldn't voice. He was scared. Scared that if he took one wrong step, their world could tumble down. As Lily chatted about her plans for a school project involving a model car she wanted to build, Jack leaned back in his chair. He couldn't help but wonder how to make her dreams a reality while figuring out his own tumultuous path. Would he sacrifice his self-respect for a lesser job to keep the lights on, or would he muster the courage to push against the tide, risking it all for a chance to secure something better? Later that day, Jack returned to the community center for another night of stories and support. Seeing Sarah there grounded him in an unexpected way, a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. They briefly locked eyes as she tended to a table filled with pies, laughter echoing in the room. She was like a gentle lighthouse piercing through his fog of worries. "Hey, you okay?" she asked, her tone laced with genuine concern. "Trying to figure things out," he admitted, the desire to be open bubbling within him. "It's a lot, you know." "Been there." She paused, her expression softening. "Just remember, you don't have to do it alone. Sometimes reaching out is the strongest thing you can do." Her words lingered in his heart as Jack took a step back to grab a slice of pie. That's exactly what he needed to hear. It was a push, a message from the universe that maybe he could lean on someone, let someone in, even as he struggled to balance his responsibilities as a father. That night, Lily fell asleep quickly, exhausted from her day, but Jack remained wide awake. He could hear the soft sounds of crickets outside, the comforting rhythm of life continuing despite his own turmoil. The weight of the world hung over him, but he made a silent promise to take a leap of faith. He needed to put pride aside and ask for help, for connection, not just for his sake, but for Lily's too. As the dawn's light began to paint the horizon, a sudden thought crossed Jack's mind. What if he started a community project? Maybe something to bring people together, cars and families, mechanics and children sharing ideas. It could spark the sense of belonging he'd been yearning for. With a flicker of determination igniting within, Jack reached for his notebook, ready to sketch a plan. But before he could, a knock at the door shattered the quiet stillness of their home. Unsure of who could be visiting at this hour, fear and hope swirled in Jack's chest as he opened the door. He had no idea that this unexpected visitor would send his life spinning in a new direction. "Is Jack here?" the stranger inquired, voice steady yet urgent. As Jack opened the door wide, he felt the gaping unknown before him, suddenly aware that this moment could change everything again. Jack stood there, the door slightly ajar as the stranger peered in. The man was tall, with a sandy beard and deep-set blue eyes that seemed to hold stories of their own. "I'm sorry to barge in like this, but I really need to speak with you." Jack hesitated, his mind racing. Who was this guy? What could he want? Just as he opened his mouth to ask, Lily's sleepy voice chimed in from behind him. "Dad." "Who is it?" The stranger turned slightly to greet her, his demeanor shifting instantly. "Hey there, sweetie, I'm just a friend of your dad's, sort of." Jack's heart raced at the implications behind the stranger's words. He stepped out onto the porch, closing the door behind him to avoid waking Lily fully. "What's going on? Do I know you?" The man shook his head but then hesitated. "Not yet. But you should know I'm here about something important, a project that could really change things for both you and your daughter." Jack narrowed his eyes. "What kind of project?" "It's about your idea for a community workshop," the stranger replied, his excitement bubbling over. "My name's Eric, by the way. I was at your last community meeting. I heard you mention wanting to create something for families in the neighborhood, a place where kids can learn about cars, mechanics, and work together." Jack felt as if a spark had ignited in his chest. "You were there? You heard that?" "Absolutely." Eric leaned in closer, eyes twinkling. "Listen, I know people who can help you, not just kids, but families, businesses. We can build something great together." The weight atop Jack's shoulders lifted slightly, hope weaving its way through the tension. But how? Where would we even start? "Let's talk inside. I have some ideas," Eric urged, suddenly a whirlwind of energy. "I believe we can truly create a community hub. Children can come together, learn, and share their ideas, like your daughter. It would be their space. Jack swallowed hard, the notion both exhilarating and terrifying. At that moment it felt as if the universe was nudging him forward, urging him on a path he had almost given up on. "Okay," he said, glancing back at the door where Lily slept peacefully. "Let's talk." They settled at the kitchen table, and as Eric painted a vibrant picture of what was possible, Jack's vision began to crystallize. They could organize workshops, bring in local mechanics, even host car shows. Children would surely flock to this space, scribbling plans and dreams on crumpled paper that would quickly take shape. As the hours slipped away, Jack shared his fears too. They spilled out in raw emotion, his hopes tangled with uncertainty. But Eric listened, nodding, offering ideas to overcome each of Jack's doubts, building confidence brick by brick. Slowly but surely, it felt less daunting, as if they were writing a new story together. But just as they were settling on plans for their first meeting, Eric paused, his expression growing serious. "You should also know, I care deeply about the community. I want it to thrive, and I believe in it." Jack looked into Eric's eyes, genuinely touched by the sincerity he found there. "That truly means a lot," he managed, feeling the excitement mix with a strange warmth in his heart. "It really does." Yet lingering there was an unsettling thought. Did accepting this help come with strings attached? Were there hidden complications that would arise? Jack knew they wouldn't be easy all the time. Could he really trust this stranger? As he pondered, a sound echoed from the other room, a soft thump. Jack's heart skipped as he whipped around to the door, anxiety clawing at him again. "Lily?" he called softly, worry creeping back in. In that moment, Jack realized that with every decision he made, he would not just be setting out on his own journey. He would be shaping Lily's future too. And as uneasy as he felt, he couldn't ignore the chance that lay before them. Would they take this leap together, or would fear hold him back once more? Jack's mind raced with possibilities, and just as Eric prepared to speak again, another soft noise echoed from the hallway. This time, it wasn't just a bump. It was followed by a familiar, sleepy voice saying, "Dad, what's going on?" The question hung in the air, charged with anticipation. Jack could already see the shifting tides of their lives before him, and he couldn't help but wonder, was this just the beginning? Jack turned, his heart pounding a little louder at Lily's question. He took a moment to collect himself. "Just a friend stopping by to talk about some ideas," he replied, trying to sound casual, even as he glanced back at Eric. Lily shuffled closer, her hair tousled and eyes still foggy with sleep. "What kind of ideas?" she asked, curiosity lighting her face. Jack knew how much she loved learning, and he could see her mind racing with possibilities. "Hey there," Eric greeted her warmly. "We're talking about a project that could help kids in the community learn about cars and mechanics, a place for fun and learning. You might even get to help out." Lily's eyes widened. "Like a workshop? That sounds cool." Jack felt a rush of warmth as he watched his daughter. She radiated excitement, her usual shyness giving way to genuine intrigue. He couldn't help but smile. A community workshop was something he'd only dared to dream about, and now it seemed possible. "Exactly," Eric said, his enthusiasm infectious. "We want to create a safe space where kids can tinker, work with their hands, and learn together. It can foster teamwork and creativity." Jack felt his chest swell with ambition and pride, but a flicker of doubt still danced in the back of his mind. "But Eric, how will we get the resources? The space? I mean, it's not just about ideas, right?" Eric nodded, understanding. "Of course it will take work, but I have some contacts in town who can help. We can get local businesses on board for sponsorships and materials, maybe even organize fundraising events to get the ball rolling." Lily was bouncing on her toes now, her excitement palpable. "Can we have maybe a race, like a go-kart race?" Jack chuckled softly, imagining the laughter, the cheers, and the joy that would come from such an event. The thought of the community coming together, working towards something positive, wrapped around his heart like a warm embrace. "That could definitely be part of it," he replied, looking into his daughter's eager eyes. "Dad, can we really do it?" Lily asked, a hint of desperation in her voice, as if she wanted to cling desperately to the hope that their lives could be different. I think we can," Jack said, his voice thick with emotion. He looked at Eric, who nodded encouragingly. "But we're going to need all hands on deck. It won't be easy." "I'm in!" she exclaimed, throwing her fist in the air. "Can we start now?" The sincerity in her voice struck Jack in the gut. This was more than just a project. It was a chance for them to bond, to build something together. "All right," Jack said, feeling a sense of determination swell within him. "Let's do this." But just as they began to brainstorm potential names for the workshop, a shadow crossed Eric's face. "I just have to tell you both something important," he began, his voice dropping a notch. "This isn't just about building a workshop. It's also about healing, and I think that's worth discussing." Lily's excitement dimmed slightly, replaced by a flicker of confusion. "Healing? From what?" she asked innocently. Jack felt a knot in his stomach. He had thought they were taking big steps forward. Was this where the complications came in? And just how deep did Eric's connection to the community, and possibly to him, really run? As silence fell over the room, the weight of Eric's words hung heavily in the air. Jack's heart raced. What was this hidden truth? "Eric, what do you mean?" he asked, his voice low, tension creeping into the conversation. The crackle of unease filled the kitchen. Jack's mind churned with questions. Had he opened a door to opportunity, only to find shadows lurking on the other side? And as those thoughts raced, a soft sound came from the corner of the room. Lily's small, anxious voice broke through. "Dad, is everything okay?" A moment passed, fragile and uncertain. What secrets lay beneath the surface of this new venture? With that question whispered in the air, everything felt poised on the edge of change, hanging in a delicate balance. What kind of healing did Eric mean? And would they truly have what it takes to confront whatever shadows awaited them? Eric took a deep breath, his eyes darting between Jack and Lily. The weight of his next words felt monumental. "What I mean is, there are stories in this community. Stories of loss, of dreams dashed and lives turned upside down. We're not just rebuilding a workshop. We're building a place where people can come to share their struggles and heal together." Jack's heart sank. He hadn't anticipated this. "What kind of stories?" he managed to ask, searching Eric's gaze for answers. "Things that go beyond cars and mechanics," Eric continued, his voice steadying as he spoke. "There are kids who've lost parents, families who feel isolated. We can create a space where they can talk about these things, a safe place with supportive mentors." Lily's brows furrowed in confusion. "But why? What does that have to do with cars?" Jack felt a pang of anxiety. Was this the kind of project he thought he was stepping into? The excitement had quickly shifted into something intimidating, something far beyond simple repairs and tinkering. "Well," Eric replied softly, "when we connect kids to hands-on skills, we give them hope. Learning about mechanics can help them find their passion, but sharing these stories builds bonds. It reminds them they're not alone." Jack glanced at Lily, whose wide eyes reflected innocence. Did she understand the depth of what Eric was saying? Did she grasp the possibility that their community was struggling far more than they realized? "What if we could help them?" Eric posed, a spark igniting in his eyes. "Imagine having a support group right there in the workshop, mentors and volunteers showing up, sharing, learning, smiling together while fixing a car or prepping for a race. It could change lives." Lily's tense shoulders relaxed slightly. "Like building a go-kart together and then—" She hesitated, searching for the right word. "Celebrating after." Jack admired her simple yet profound understanding. "Exactly," he mused, feeling a flicker of hope himself. "But how do we dive into that?" Eric smiled, relieved to see Jack's interest rekindle. "We tap into the passion already present. We invite the community in, not just for repairs, but also for connection. Each event can be a chance to bond, to share." Jack nodded, feeling the first stirrings of clarity. "And we can create days for parents to talk to. Maybe workshops for them? A place to share their problems while the kids are hands-on learning." Lily clapped her hands, her earlier excitement returning. "Can we have a picnic too, like a big party?" "Of course," Eric laughed, momentarily lightening the tension. "A festival, a celebration, a way to bring everyone together." That moment, Jack felt a sense of purpose wash over him. It wasn't just the workshop, It was an opportunity to unite their fractured community in meaningful ways. He thought about all the pain and struggles people faced. That spark of hope could lead to real change. Yet, beneath his excitement lingered a deeper concern. But what if they don't want to share their pain? What if it's too uncomfortable for them? Eric's gaze softened, understanding the undercurrents of Jack's worry. That's okay, he acknowledged. We gently create an environment. We share our own stories first. It opens the door. It's about building trust. The room fell quiet once more, and Jack could feel the urgency in the air. It was more than a project now. It was a chance for him to confront his own demons as well. And then, with those thoughts swirling in his mind, Lily spoke again, her voice small, yet brave. What about you, Eric? What's your story? Jack shifted, a wave of dread rolling over him. He hadn't considered that question. What lay beneath Eric's commitment? Did he hold a piece of this community's history too? The tension hung thick and palpable. Jack's heart quickened. What would Eric reveal? What deeper truths would emerge from the shadows they aimed to confront? As the silence thickened, all eyes turned to Eric, the moment poised for revelation. What would he say? Would it change everything? Eric took a moment, the weight of the question hanging in the air. He looked at Lily's curious, innocent face, and then met Jack's searching gaze. The workshop, the community, and the stories all felt interconnected, yet deeply personal. Well, he began, his voice steady but soft, I guess you could say I understand loss more than many. He paused, searching for the right words. It felt like stepping onto a stage in front of an audience he knew too well. A few years back, I lost my father. It hit me hard. He was my mentor, you know, taught me everything I know about cars. That loss left a hole in my life. Lily's eyes widened, innocence shifting to empathy. I'm sorry, she whispered, her small hands clenching together. It's okay, Eric reassured her gently. It made me realize something important. I spent a long time just feeling sorry for myself, wallowing in my sadness. But then I thought about how much my dad loved helping others. He would have wanted me to continue that legacy. Jack leaned closer, feeling the gravity of Eric's words. The workshop wasn't just about mechanics. It was about giving kids like Lily a safe place to redirect their grief into something positive. So, Eric continued, I started this project. I wanted to honor my dad's memory and, like I said before, create a space for others who might be hurting too. I want to show them that it's okay to feel pain, but it's also okay to heal through connection and support. As Eric spoke, Jack felt a deepening connection to him. It was clear now that this project wasn't just about cars, it was about rebuilding broken hearts too. Lily's excitement had quieted, a serious look settling on her face. Do you think your dad would be proud? She asked softly. For a moment, Eric's eyes shone with unshed tears. I hope so, I really do. I think he would be, he replied, a warm smile breaking through his grief. It was a mixture of sadness and pride, reflection and hope that filled his voice. Jack crossed his arms, feeling his own chest tighten with emotions. He realized that this shared vulnerability opened up something powerful in all three of them. But what if the kids don't want to talk about their problems? Jack posed, almost hesitantly. What if they don't want to share like we are? Then we share first, Eric encouraged, a glint of determination in his eyes. We show them that it's okay to be vulnerable. We create an environment that feels safe. After that, we'll see how it evolves. We take it one step at a time. Lily bounced slightly, the initial solemnity returning to excitement. So we can help kids like us? Friends who need to feel less alone? Exactly, Eric affirmed, his smile infectious. We can be the ones who make a difference, starting with just an open heart and a listening ear. It's about creating a space where everyone feels welcome. Jack felt a shift within himself, a new sense of purpose intertwined with his own journey. Okay, he breathed out, his heart thumping with renewed energy. I'm in. Let's start planning those events. Let's build this community together. Yay! Lily cheered, throwing her hands in the air with delight. Jack couldn't help but chuckle at her enthusiasm, catching Eric's eye and sharing a knowing smile. But then, as laughter filled the air, A cloud settled over Jack's thoughts. He wasn't ready for this journey alone. There were parts of his past he still needed to unravel. Would he have the courage to confront those demons too? As the excitement continued, Jack's mind raced. Would they be able to handle the truth? What if confronting their stories reopened old wounds for all of them? The challenge loomed ahead, steep yet meaningful. Jack was about to find out just how deep the wounds of their community went, and whether or not he could face his own past along the way. Would they emerge stronger, or would the weight of their histories pull them back? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow through the workshop's dusty windows, Jack found himself caught in a whirlwind of thoughts. The laughter from Lily seemed distant now, as shadows of doubt crept into his mind. He stood, leaning against a workbench, the smell of motor oil and sawdust swirling around him, anchoring him in the present, but also tugging him back to his past. "Are you okay?" Eric's voice broke through like a gentle hand on his shoulder. There was concern etched in his features, a mirror of Jack's own worries. Jack took a deep breath, wanting to be strong for Lily, for Eric. "Yeah, just thinking." The words were heavy, laden with unspoken fears. "Thinking about the plan?" Eric asked, tilting his head with that encouraging smile of his. "Or something else?" Jack hesitated. The idea of planning community events felt thrilling yet daunting. It's just, what if we can't reach the kids? What if they don't want to open up? What if they see us as just adults who don't get it? Eric stepped closer, his presence steady and reassuring. "They'll see us as people who care. That's the first step, and trust me, it won't happen overnight. Healing takes time." "Still, I don't want to fail them," Jack admitted, his voice cracking slightly. "Then let's not fail them. Let's show them their strength in vulnerability," Eric replied, as if he was handing Jack a lifeline. "We can be the support they need, just like we are to each other. We have to remember, not everyone will open up right away, and that's okay." Lily overheard their conversation, her small stature almost swallowed by the clutter of tools and parts around them. "You guys don't have to worry. I'll tell everyone how fun it is here. I'll spread the word." A fierce determination lit up her eyes, reminding Jack of her unyielding spirit. Jack couldn't help but smile. "You'd do that?" "Yup, and I can help plan games and stuff. It'll be great." Her enthusiasm ignited something within him, his previously heavy heart lightening just a little. "Okay, let's do this," Jack said, feeling a swell of courage. "We'll meet next week and brainstorm ideas. We'll make it work." As laughter fluttered back into the workshop, a sense of hope began to weave through the air. But underneath it all, Jack felt the reality of his own struggle lurking, waiting for the right moment to resurface. There were parts of his past, painful memories that he still clung to, secrets that could threaten everything they were trying to build. Later that night, as he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Jack wrestled with thoughts of the children's stories. What if they brought up things he wasn't ready to confront? Could he bear the weight of their pain while grappling with his own? With a sense of urgency, he turned to his phone, scrolling through photos of happier times, a time when everything felt simpler. In those moments, he was reminded that healing wasn't about forgetting the past. It was about facing it together, hand in hand. Yet the fear remained. What if digging into his own history brought back memories he couldn't handle? The following day, as he met with Eric and Lily to discuss their plans, the bond between the three of them felt more solid than ever. But every shared dream for their project was met with the unsettling thought that his own demons lingered just beneath the surface, threatening to unravel everything. They gathered around the cluttered workbench, brimming with excitement and dreams for their community. But what would happen when those dreams collided with the stark truth of their realities? Jack wondered. As they began mapping out their first event, would they truly be able to face the shadows waiting to resurface? With every plan they laid out, an unsettling question lingered. Could vulnerability truly bridge the chasm of pain in their lives? Or would it expose wounds best left untouched? The next morning, Jack arrived at the workshop early, the sky still a soft grey with hints of pink glowing on the horizon. The stillness enveloped him, almost welcoming. He paced, the fresh scent of wood unwinding a little of the tension coiled tightly within him. As he prepared the workspace, The tools lining the walls seemed less like a chaotic collection and more like his trusted allies, ready to build something beautiful. Suddenly the jingle of the doorbell brought him back. Lily stormed in, her backpack bouncing against her small frame. "Jack, guess what?" Her excitement filled the room like sunshine. "What's up?" Jack leaned against the workbench, a smile playing on his lips. "I told all my friends about our event. They can't wait to come. We'll have games, and I have this idea for a friendly competition." She practically vibrated with energy, pulling out overly ambitious plans drawn in colorful markers. Jack's heart swelled. "That's fantastic, Lily. What kind of competition?" "A scavenger hunt," she exclaimed. "We can make teams and see who finds the most stuff, and there'll be ice cream at the end." "That sounds like so much fun," he encouraged, feeling a flicker of something he hadn't expected. Hope. But a gnawing thought tugged at the edges of his mind. Were they prepared for everything that came with it? Eric arrived moments later, yawning but instantly caffeinated by the hope bubbling in the air. "Okay, what's the plan, team?" Jack glanced at Lily, who instantly brightened the room with her enthusiasm. They quickly sketched out the event, each idea igniting more laughter, more joy. Yet every notion of camaraderie was shadowed by Jack's inner turmoil. What would happen when the kids asked questions he wasn't ready for? As they discussed logistics, a dull thud reverberated in Jack's chest, reminding him of the barriers he needed to confront. He glanced at Eric, unsure if his fear was evident. But Eric's eyes were on him, almost like he could read Jack's thoughts. "Hey," Eric said softly. "If anything feels too heavy, you don't have to carry it alone. We're in this together, remember?" Jack nodded, even though the weight of unspoken fears still pressed down. "Thanks, man. I hope we can handle whatever comes." The day drifted by in a whirlwind of planning, interspersed with Lily's infectious laughter. But as dark clouds began to gather in the sky outside, Jack's anxiety climbed. Later, as they stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, Jack noticed the overcast looming above them. "What do you think?" he asked Eric quietly, hesitating. "Will they open up to us?" "Honestly," Eric replied, searching Jack's eyes, "some will, some won't, and that's okay. We just show up and listen." Lily bounded ahead, twirling under the darkening sky, oblivious to the shadows creeping in. Jack watched her, a mix of admiration and fear warring inside him. Could they truly connect in a way that would help her and others like her? What if he had to share more than he was ready for? As they all huddled back inside the workshop, Jack felt the familiar sensation of uncertainty pressure around him. But just then, Lily returned with a determined look. "Jack, can I ask you something?" Her eyes were bright, filled with the type of hope that made Jack's heart ache. "What's that, Lily?" he said, holding his breath. "Why do you care so much about all of this? About helping us?" Her question hung heavy in the air. The truth was tangled inside Jack, ready to spill, but was he ready to confront it? As he opened his mouth to respond, the weight of the moment pressed down, and everything became still. Would he reveal his own pain to help them all heal? And what would that mean for him? Jack swallowed hard, feeling both fear and a strange anticipation. What would he say to Lily? And what doors might it open? Jack's heart raced as he stared into Lily's hopeful gaze. He started, but the words caught in his throat, tangled in the weight of unspoken sorrow and longing. He felt a storm brewing inside him, memories flashing like lightning in his mind. "I care," he finally whispered, struggling to find the right way to explain something so deep and tangled. "Because once, I was lost too." Lily's eyes widened, her small brow furrowing with curiosity. "Lost? What do you mean?" He shifted his gaze, not ready to dive headfirst into the past, but the sincerity in her voice urged him on. I felt alone, like the world was closing in, just like I can see some of you feel now." "That's why you help us?" she asked, tilting her head. Jack nodded slowly. "I just want to make sure no one else feels that way, if I can help it." Lily's expression softened, reflecting a mature understanding that caught him off guard. "But you're not alone, Jack. We have you." Her words hit hard, and in that moment the pressure in his chest began to ease. He laughed softly, overwhelmed by her wisdom. Yes, I guess we do. Then let's make sure everyone feels welcome. So no one has to feel alone, Lily championed, her bright smile radiating warmth, and for a brief moment Jack felt lighter. Perhaps this event could truly make a difference not just for them, but for him as well. After that conversation, they dove back into planning, the excitement bubbling anew. They chose themes and teams, tossing out ideas like confetti. Jack watched as Lily animatedly engaged with Eric, her laughter shifting the atmosphere inside the workshop. The walls that felt so heavy before now vibrated with joy. As the day wore on, however, the clouds outside thickened, rumbling softly in the distance. Jack peered outside, the first raindrops beginning to dance on the pavement. His heart sank slightly. Would the weather ruin their plans? Would it affect Lily's enthusiasm and the others' spirits? But Lily, ever perceptive, noticed his frown. "Jack, it's just rain. We can still have fun. It's like a mini-adventure." "Yeah, an ice cream tastes better when it's raining," Eric chimed in, winking at her. He couldn't help but chuckle, even as worry still gnawed at him. Lily's spirit was indomitable, and Eric's support bolstered him. They turned the potential disaster into a new opportunity for fun. Folding tables would come inside, games would adapt, and everything would go on as planned. That evening, as they finalized details, something shifted inside Jack. He began to see his own fears not as barriers, but as bridges, the very things that could connect him to these kids. They were surfacing vulnerabilities, yet showing him how community could intertwine rather than unravel. Just before they wrapped up, Lily raised her hand. "Hey, what if you told all of us why you care about helping?" The moment felt electric, charged with possibilities. Jack hesitated, then felt buried emotions rising again. He studied her bright face, the way her eyes sparkled with warmth and concern. Could he really let them in? "Maybe," he began, a flicker of fear flashing within him. "Maybe I can share a bit of my story, even if it's hard." The room waited in silence, each person hanging onto his words. "What if it helps someone?" Lily encouraged gently, her little hand reaching out toward him. He felt the risk, the weight of his truth, but something in that shared space urged him to keep going. Jack took a deep breath, grounding himself in the moment. "Okay," he said softly, ready to open the door just a crack wider. "Here goes." But just as he began to speak, a sudden loud clap of thunder shook the workshop, interrupting him. Jack stopped, heart pounding, and suddenly all eyes were on him, tension thick in the air. Would it be a storm, a downpour of revelations, or something else entirely? What was brewing out there mirrored what was brewing within him. Would he summon the courage to share, or would he let fear drown his voice the way dark clouds threatened to swallow the light? As the thunder rolled, it echoed Jack's racing heart. He stood at the precipice, caught between vulnerability and fear. The rumbling storm outside mirrored the tumult within him, clouds gathering both literally and metaphorically. But Lily's eyes sparkled with encouragement, and Eric's steady presence fortified his resolve. "Okay, here it goes," Jack said, his voice steadier than he felt. "A long time ago I lost someone, my best friend. We were kids, dreaming about the future, fixing cars just like we do here. He was everything to me. When he died, I didn't just lose him. I lost my way too." Silence enveloped the workshop. Jack could see their young faces soaking in his words, processing the heaviness. "Things got tough for a while. I withdrew, felt lost, like I was on a road with no signs. But I found my way back eventually, through friendship, hard work, and, well, helping others." He looked at Lily, feeling the warmth radiate from her presence. "It's why I care about this community, because I don't want anyone else to feel that loss, that loneliness. We can lean on each other. That's what brings us back." A light flickered in Lily's eyes, her understanding deepening. "So, helping others helps you too?" Jack nodded, feeling his heart swell. "Exactly, kiddo. Every time we build something together, every story we share, it heals pieces of me that I didn't know were broken." As he spoke, storm clouds rolled over Maplewood, but in that moment the clouds didn't feel oppressive. Instead, they felt charged, electric with possibility, the dawn of a new beginning. "Wow," Lily whispered, her small voice piercing through the lingering quiet. "I can't believe you went through so much, but I'm really glad you helped the community. You make it better for us all." Tears pricked Jack's eyes at her honesty. "That's the goal," he replied thickly. "No one should have to bear their burdens alone." As thunder rumbled again, louder this time, Eric added, "You're paving the way for a brighter future, Jack. This workshop isn't just another project. It's a beacon of hope, a crossroads for healing." Jack nodded, feeling that deep connection among the three of them blossom in the stormy air. Something shifted within him, powerful and liberating. They began brainstorming the first event again, this time interspersing laughter with the heavy truths they now understood. The storm outside continued, but inside, a different kind of energy ignited, pushing away shadows and doubt. "Maybe it could be called Workshop of Hope," Lily exclaimed, her eyes shining, "so everyone knows it's a happy place." Jack grinned, leaning over the workbench. "I love that. It's a space where we can share joy, but also lend an ear when someone needs to talk." "Absolutely," Eric chimed in. "It's about building not just things but connections." Hours slipped away as rain poured down, but no one noticed. They sketched, planned, and danced from one idea to the next, fueled by their collective excitement. As they wrapped up, Jack glanced at the clock, still in awe of how much time had passed. "All right, team, we've mapped out a lot. But there's only one way to know what works. Let's put this into action next week." Cheers erupted from both Lily and Eric, their enthusiasm contagious. Jack's heart swelled, reminded of how much love and hope could blossom from even the most broken past. But the question lingered. How would the community react? Would they welcome this space? As he lay in bed that night, already drowsy from the day's efforts, Jack felt for the first time in years that he wasn't just a mechanic burdened by the past. He was a father, a friend, and a guide for something greater. The days flew by, bursting with energy as they reached out to the community. Slowly, families began to rally around the idea. Others shared their stories. Kids signed up with eagerness and enthusiasm, excited to tinker and learn. As the day of the workshop arrived, Jack's heart thudded in his chest. Transforming the space, crowded with tools and complex parts, into an open, welcoming atmosphere, felt overwhelming. Tension washed over him, but he breathed deeply, letting Lily's laughter echo in his heart. They set up tables outside as kids arrived, balloons bobbing in the darkening sky. Families laughed, exchanging hopeful glances as they gathered together. Moments later, community members began filtering in, uncertain yet curious, but nonetheless showing up. And then it happened. A sudden clap of thunder struck, the heavens opening with a torrential downpour as laughter turned to gasps. Jack felt panic surge anew, worry clawing at him. Would this ruin their plans? But before he could spiral, Lily reached for his hand, her small grip steadying him. "Don't worry, Jack, we can still have fun." A smile crept in, spreading like sunlight pushing through clouds. As if sensing the shift, Eric raised his voice over the storm, rallying the crowd. "All right, everyone, let's gather inside and get started. We might be a bit soggy, but that doesn't mean we can't make memories." Warm laughter fractured through the chaos, dissolving complaints. They hurried indoors, the sounds of joy filling the air. As the workshop began, the laughter echoed through the halls. This wasn't just a place for mechanics. It was a sanctuary for stories, for healing, for connection. Jack felt a surge of gratitude as he saw smiling faces all around him, each representing a story, a journey. "Look, Dad, they're loving it." Lily's voice rang out, excitement bubbling. Jack turned to see her radiant smile, her eyes alight with joy. And in that moment, Jack realized something profound. The storm outside didn't represent fear anymore. It was simply nature cleansing the past, making way for all that could grow. Together they lifted their voices in a shared chorus, laughter ringing out, drowning the thunder, as Jack took a deep breath and met each gaze with newfound assurance. Everything had changed, and he felt peace settle within him. They were no longer lost, they had found home, together. As the storm faded, a brilliant rainbow broke through the clouds, casting colors through the workshop's windows, a promise of hope, of new beginnings, as they forged ahead. Jack smiled, a full radiant smile that lifted his heart from the depths of despair. This was just the beginning, Together, they would continue to journey toward healing, building family, and that unbroken spirit of community each day. As they laughed, shared, and created, he knew they would not only fix cars, they would heal hearts. Join the journey with us. You need to subscribe now to catch the next incredible transformations and stories that open your heart. Leave a like now to support the channel and feed this beautiful connection with everyone. Comment below how you felt about this journey and what stories resonate with you. And please share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who are ready to embrace hope and connection. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support.